Hi, my name is Danielle Weber and this is Uncommon.
Uncommon is a production focused on the why of business, media and marketing. It's made by my team at Neural, a digital agency for challenger brands and talent. To learn more, just visit neural.com. That's NEURALLE.com. My guest this week is Danielle Weber, back in after 4 years since we last spoke. So NFT creator, artist, Pinot and Picasso in Malvern. I feel like you bought that just after we had you in.
Been like over 2 years now. So it was like just before COVID hit.
So it was 2019.
Yeah,
right.
end of 2019.
And also, cheers to the new studio space.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers to your new studio space.
Yeah, we
too.
both
bloody
we both
going
finally...
up in the world at the same time, literally.
So
you got to drink a bit. You have to cheers and drink.
Yeah, true.
Just note that it's like 2 p.m. on a Friday afternoon.
It's not 10 a.m.
It's not 10 a.m. It's 5 o'clock in the world somewhere.
When did you go, all right, I've got to buy this thing? Because I sort of had that epiphany when we were looking at rentals and we were like, this is fucked in terms of how much it was and how I was going to basically have to put all this money into sprucing up someone else's space.
Okay.
And COVID had happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's so cheap to buy commercial now in certain areas.
Yeah.
Why not buy it and rent it?
Yeah.
Did you have anything like that?
Are we talking about my studio or Pinot?
Your studio.
Yeah. So my studio, I was in like a warehouse space, and there was other people in there, and there was just a lot going on. And I found that I wasn't going there, so I was like paying rent for like a year and a half, and I just wasn't utilizing the space. And I think I looked at rent and I was like, this is just crazy, like, you know, for what you get as well. And then like storefronts were crazy as well. And so I sort of just said to a few real estate agents, I was like, you know, the only thing about commercials, you have like a massive deposit. But I was just like, if anything pops up, let me know. Mm-hmm. And that new business park popped up, and I mean, I bought in off the plan, second stage.
Okay.
It was just before COVID hit. So I had committed. And then this worldwide shitstorm eventuated and I was like, oh no, like, you know, as a creative, everything's like up and down, roller coaster. So in terms of timing, it probably wasn't the greatest, but I doubled down that year and just made it happen and have my own studio space. And it'd been like, you know, 10, 12 years not having any form of organization. You know, people would come to my house to pick up pieces. It was like no professionalism whatsoever. Like, just come to my back room and pick up your painting.
We'd do the podcast and we'd have like politicians in and be like, oh, this is nice.
Welcome
this is
to
your
my
house.
home.
Yeah, I remember you were in like the front room of your parents' place.
Yeah. So over the years, it was like in the middle of the kitchen. I used to just literally sit like splat bang in the middle of the kitchen in everyone's way and just paint. And then it was like a spare room, and then it was like the back room. So I've just taken over everyone else's space for the last 10 years. So, and there was like a room for my prints, and then like garage, and then just things like tucked in every little like place I could find. So most of the time I was like buying equipment that I didn't even need because I couldn't locate it. And so now like I have everything. I was like, when I have my own space, it's going to be organized. I'm going to know exactly what I have. And yeah, long time coming, but
You're an only child, right?
No.
Really?
Nah, I've got a brother and a sister.
Really?
Yeah.
Why I've never seen these individuals on social media.
I think I keep my private life, like on my family life, pretty, like I'm very family orientated. I spend a lot of time with them. Yeah. But people wouldn't even know that from the sidelines.
I had no idea, and I've done my research.
Apart from shout out to my brother today, he called me in like one of the most stressful times, and I told him to
fuck off.
Yeah.
Are they both older or younger?
Older, yeah.
Okay. Because I just assumed you were an only child, and it made sense, like your parents letting you take over
everything
that, you know, like, because Lauren's got that, like her parents would just, it's weird for me being the oldest. Like my parents would be like, well, you could do this on your own, or like just the relationship is completely different.
You're responsible from the get-go.
Pretty much. Whereas with Lauren, like anything, they'll help with anything. I'm like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
This is nice.
That's like literally like me, which I'm so grateful for. And people ask like, how do you have that time in the day? And I'm like, because my parents have literally, they're my like two angels on my shoulders. They do so much for me still. And of course, if, you know, they stopped enjoying it, then I'd be like, okay, I'll be responsible now. Yeah, but they, you know, I hope they love it. And it's just like, it's sort of like I'm doing this thanks to them. Like they encourage me to pursue this whole whirlwind of art. So to have them along for the ride, fully immersed in it as well. They know everything that's going on. You know, it's good to have like a venting station as well. And yeah, so like hopefully they love it as much as I love having them on board.
Your dad's still, obviously, he's like your fixer, it sounds like.
Yeah.
One of the notes I had was around like, what do you miss from the days of like it just being you and your dad?
Yeah.
Like, let's say 5 years ago where things were very different.
Yeah.
Is there anything you miss from that period of time?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there was probably less like stresses or factors or like moving parts to my business back then. So it was probably a bit more carefree, whereas there's a little bit more going on. So you sort of, the time that you have to fluff around and joke around. And we used to go stay places for a couple of extra days here and there while we're working. So no, I think it's all a journey. And I mean, I don't, yeah, it's just crazy to have him on board too as well. Like I think it has been about 5-6 years now that he's been working with me for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how the obligations change over time.
Yeah.
And every time it gets more intense and then you become used to it.
Yeah. You just level up from there.
You level up, yeah. And I
Yeah.
can see how that would change for you over time.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
let's update people for brand Danny in 2022. So we've got, from last we had you was March 2018. So like you said, 2019, Pinot and Picasso Malvern.
Yep.
Studio space.
2019 was a crazy year. I think that was the year
Big year.
that I met Arnold Schwarzenegger and went to his house and stuff.
That's
So that was
right.
a busy year.
Didn't he also come here for that event?
Yes, that's where he saw my work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like the Prince had already been expanding, the Prince business, let's call it.
Yep.
And then the NFT. So when you look back at COVID now, the last 2 years, let's say, and I don't know about you, but I don't think we're ever going back into a lockdown. I don't think there's any political will for
I
it.
believe no. Yeah.
Particularly when we have this many cases a day.
Yeah.
What was the biggest insight you picked up from that period of time?
Definitely people either doubling down or falling behind the times. I think a lot of people shifted. They realized that there was, that moving forward, we are already in a digital world. And I think people realize that it'll become more apparent moving forward. They put all their ducks in a row, shifted to online, courses online, things like that. So I think people really either took advantage of like being locked down, or they perhaps were just, I guess, flattened by it, which a lot of people were, which is so sad to see. I mean, I probably flattened me for a couple of weeks, and then I was like, you know what, no one actually cares what's going on in your life at the moment. So you either take responsibility and realize that like, yeah, it might be shit, but let's just see how we can shift and what time. Like we had so much time. Like
so much
much time. Like what can you do in your days? Yeah, you lost motivation here and there, but like instead of watching Netflix for 2 years, what can you do to actually, which some people literally did. Like what can you do in that time? So I was like, okay, let's look into building an online course. I was already involved in crypto, but let's take a little bit more time to look into that. Let's, get my online spaces up and running. I got an artist community now, set some things up that I literally would never have had time to do. So time in the studio to create my canvases that was sort of like lingering on in the background because I'd just been smashing out mural after mural. So so I think that was the biggest insight, is people just shifting and realizing what's important too, like family, what you have, like being grateful for what you have around you, and sort of being like, everyone just sort of would leave reality every now and then, go travel and do this and that. And I think everyone just was stripped back raw and had to really evaluate what was
100%.
Going on.
I wonder, like, did you find an uptick or a downtick initially of people? Like, did you ever have that impact of, how everything was like really driven in the first lockdown year around buying shit online?
Massive year online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like I remember we had clients at the time who were sort of in like the furniture, like furniture seemed to be one of those weird things that just went ballistic.
Yeah.
But also sounds like, that experimentation was a big thing for you.
Yeah.
And I think now when I look back at it, it was really a period where we could just work out what we were going to be good at.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like that, I remember we did so many dumb fucking things. So we had, do you remember this, Jacob? We had like the Neural Social Club thing where we were going to like have like a subscription service for influencers who were like at a certain level and didn't meet like the threshold of, needing really to be managed. And it was just such a waste of time, but also a valuable
I did a lot
lesson.
of waste of time things as well, don't worry.
Yeah. Like we set up this whole thing where, you pay and you go into the Discord and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know. In hindsight, obviously not worth it, but also it taught us that it was not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not doing it now where things are back to normal.
And that's the thing. I feel like people had a bit of time to make those. Well, I know. I mean, I never see them as mistakes. I just see them as like little stepping stones. And like, okay, that's exactly what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone's like, oh, I wasted my time, And it's just like, well, you've just figured out what you don't want to do. Like, it's really not. You're going to probably be confronted with that situation at some point. So better off doing it in lockdown when you're fluffing around for 2 years. So yeah, it's cool to hear.
What do you think you never go back to from that period of time?
Oh, I did try the Netflix thing for a while.
Yeah.
Like that is just a rabbit hole. Like I don't know how people do it. Like you start one series and it's addictive.
Like as in what, watching it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, like most people are like, what do you mean? Like that's normal. But like, and most of the time you're sitting and you're like, what am I watching? Like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, I suffer from decision fatigue with Netflix. Like I look at stuff and there's too much.
Yeah, but then that's what I mean. Like you spend like time and so that's something I think, I might enjoy a movie here and there. I love watching like documentaries and biographies and things like that. But I think the Netflix, like I did do the binge for a while there and I feel like it just really messes with your mental health. Like you feel like you've not achieved anything.
Yeah.
And it's just so that I'll never go back to that.
And if you're the type of personality that you are, an A-type, like really focused on things, it can bug the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
So what then do you, when you like peace out, when you're zoning out, what do you consume? Are you just like doom scrolling on social media?
Yeah, I do a bit of that.
Because I find that the most, like I struggle watching Netflix and I'll just pick out my phone, start screen sharing to the TV so Lauren can watch what I'm looking at.
That's so cool.
And then just look at
It's so much more
TikToks.
Interesting watching someone else's feed than yourself. Like it really is. Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to watch it together, but sometimes it's just easier when you're on opposite ends of the couch.
Yeah.
And I don't like the disjointedness of
I'm
you both looking at your own
trying to
shit.
read,
Okay.
but my eyes seem to go over the page and nothing goes in the brain. So that's like I took Gary Vee's book away with me and everyone's like, but if it's a good book, like you'll be able to read it. I'm like, I've read good books and it still doesn't work. But I read 24 pages in 2 weeks. So that was not bad.
I just think
it was like
I get what they're saying. Like it sounds like you've just not found what you like. We have a friend. She's still alive. We caught up with her recently and she got really into reading over the break and it was the thing that I said to her. It's just like find the style of book that you really like. And she's dyslexic.
Okay.
So she really struggles to read. And she's also got synesthesia where you like see colours and shit with words. Anyway, she found biographies. And she's like, I found a biography, it was gifted. Most of the time it's like they've been given as a gift.
Yeah.
And she's gone deep on that. And now she just churns through books.
Really?
And she was not, if you ask Lauren after this, she is not the type to read. Like she would struggle to get 5 pages through
Yeah. That's me.
So
I can listen to them though.
yeah, listening, that's fine. But I don't know, I find like reading a physical book is just different.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And as well, what was I going to say? With the books, like now, today, because I buy so many books and I read so prolifically, if I can't get into it in the first like 20 to 50 pages, it's sort of like when you start a series and the first episode you can't get into it.
Oh, okay, yeah, just
drop it.
Abort, mission, yeah, see you
like
later.
life's too short.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
So same with the book.
Yeah, so you and your
So are we
book,
saying
24 pages
Gary
in.
Vee shit?
No, I'm not saying Gary Vee shit. I'm just saying
It could
that
be, I don't know. Like
it's just not for you.
Yeah.
You know, like
Next.
you consume his content, right, digitally.
Maybe it's enough.
Maybe that's enough. I remember I had like a real Gary Vee stage, but then I sort of like grew out of it. And then I came back into Gary Vee because he got into like the NFT stuff.
Yes.
And I always watch his talks about NFTs. But like if he talks about content,
Yeah. So like I'm done.
I can't tune in. It's not for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
I love that.
What Okay, let's talk about
We
Pinot
can
and
turn that into like a meme or something.
Yeah,
That's coming out. Like,
No,
this is gonna
have
be
you
a
seen the
GIF.
guy on TikTok and he's like he's talking about blueberries?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Pinot and Picasso Malvern. Now, this was definitely a trend
Yeah.
happening just before COVID where like all of a sudden I'm hearing about girlfriends and friends going to these places and they go fucking painting and get boozed and
Just
blah,
get
blah, blah.
hammered and paint. Sounds fun.
Where I think it was a brilliant move by yourself because it's obvious like you've got the process and then you can also have like your art up on the wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where did the idea come from? Did someone approach you?
Yep.
How did you look into it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always wanted to do something like that, but of course, like with everything else going on, it's like I can't actually take on something like that myself solely. So when they approached me, I was like, this is fantastic.
Okay, and who's they?
Aaron
Is
and
that
James,
Pinot and Picasso?
business partners in New South Wales, and they started them up there, and now they've got, I've lost count of how many, more than 40 or something across Australia and New Zealand actually. So
and they own all
Pinot Picasso. They're franchise, a lot of them,
Okay.
but I've just got 25% in the Malvern one.
Yeah.
So obviously it just aligned with everything I love about art, and and it's just in such a fun and no pressure in the situation. You just want them to go there and have a great time. And I really believe that just having a good paint sesh, alcohol aside, is
good paint sesh.
Good paint sesh is just so good for the soul. And, you walk out of there, it's, similar to, I was always interested in art therapy. I didn't quite grasp the psychology side, so maybe I'll tap into that when I'm a bit older. But I feel like it just aligned with what I love. I've had friends come over and paint in my studio when they're not feeling so great, and that for me, seeing how people walk out of those sessions and just bonding and even like finding a talent that they didn't know they had. So super fun. I think it was a really tough time to open a business. Like obviously we didn't know what we're in for. We pretty much spent most of the 2 years like locked down essentially.
It's brutal.
Yeah. But it's really busy now. Hopefully we can get some momentum. I think it was just not knowing when we're going to get locked down again. It's so hard to build that momentum up again. But yeah, the really good team, like the girls are amazing. And there's a lot more in Melbourne now too. So it's expanding.
What's your involvement there today? Is it just ownership, or do you purposely go down and do a lesson once in a blue moon? How do you look at it now?
Yeah, so I've done a few like online during COVID. I was taking some online classes, which was really, really fun. And it's so funny because everyone's like it stresses me out taking the class. They're like, what do you mean? You can paint these big murals. And I'm just like, oh my God, can I teach people this? Like, it's really hard. And they're like, you're fine. So it was a good challenge to actually like jump on and teach people. And so I just I try help obviously social media promotion and, for like groups that need to be looked after to go in, I'll help coordinate that as well. I go in every now and then. Obviously I try to stay as much engaged and on top of everything as I can, but it depends on my schedule as well. So
yeah, you're not going to be in there day to day.
Yeah, because everyone's like, do you take the classes? I'm like, I wish I had
sorry.
hours, but yeah, I'm not going to be there on Saturday night and Sunday.
No, that would be I remember we used to have this ad on the podcast. The Dan Monheit, I think he's in next week. He would always give me shit about because what was the ad, Jacob? It was like you will get a personal call with Jordan and blah blah. And he's like, oh hi, I'm just calling to get my personal call with Jordan. And
that's so funny.
He's like, dude, you need to take that down today, which is so funny.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
The art therapy thing's interesting. So is it because I would imagine it's sort of like when you go to a psych and they're like, have you ever tried journaling?
Yeah.
Journaling's a nice therapeutic, and it is because you're basically taking what's in your head and just spitting it out on paper.
Yeah.
How would that translate with painting? Is it literally just like you're trying to convert your emotions into something, or is it really the process of painting sort of puts you in a a meditative sort of
I think
space?
it's a bit of both. I think as I said, I don't know the ins and outs of the psychology behind it so much, but I guess it is a form of expression and a form of expressing yourself. And it does, like when you paint, like you sort of go, you're in your own little world. And I feel like it, so not sure. It depends on,
for you, do you feel like it's like a flow state?
Yes,
almost?
yeah. To a point where, like, if I have, a meeting in an hour and I know I've got that hour to paint, I actually won't start painting because I know that, like, I can't get into that flow state if I know I don't have a solid window of creating. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So it's like a big, like, I'm just going to fluff around for the next hour because can't start painting anyway. So,
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So because, like, I sort of, like, really just like to know that I have, like, endless time. I'm not, restricted. I don't have to stop anytime soon. So if I get into that state, the thought of, like, then having to stop is disappointing. So, so art therapy, like, I mean, it is, a form of expression and they use it for treatment. And I mean, in all different clientele. I'm not going to go into that because as I said, I'm not well educated around it. But yeah, my general consensus, I think, is,
So your week or your day, like, let's take it. Today's an example is a tough one because it sounds like you've had a bunch of meetings. When you block out time for painting, one, how big is the gap? Is it like a solid 2 to 3 hours? And two, of those times throughout the week, what percentage of those related to your own free painting?
Yeah.
Versus stuff that's like on commission or that you have to do?
Yeah. So I think, as we sort of just touched on before, as the business has grown, there's been less and less time for me to paint, which is a terrifying, I guess, thought for a lot of people. But in saying that, I do appreciate the time that I do get when I paint it. So I try not to waste that time. So when I have a mural, then I'll block out a week or however long it'll be, and it'll be on for, like, I will not have, like,
non-stop the whole day.
Non-stop the whole way through. Mentally, like, I need to have that that clarity, and I can't have anything interrupt that.
Okay.
When I'm on a mural. So because people are like, oh, you can, like, start that and then, like, start another project. I'm like, I can't. Like, I need to just start it and finish it, and that's it. So, but when it comes to canvases, like, today I had, I got told about a Nike deadline at 4 p.m. yesterday, and I had to be in today, but I was like, okay, well, I've got a meeting at 11 and I've got this. So, so I was like, okay, so I stayed up all last night. I was supposed to paint last night, but I was just like, nope, that's not going to happen. Stayed up all last night, did that, had a meeting at 11, and then obviously we're here, and it's just been a crazy day in between that, all the other calls and meetings and stuff.
It's good to know that I was not the only one up late last night. I said to myself last night, like, we had a chilled night with friends, and there's a bunch of contracts and big deals that we're finalising with lawyers and stuff, and I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to just get it fucking done tonight, and then I'm going to sleep in.
Yeah.
I slept in, woke up at like 9:30ish, and I opened my inbox, and it's just like I punt out 50 emails and get it all done, and I get like 70 or 80 back. And I'm
it's like, wow. It's like, okay, I just took like 20 steps forward, another 300 back. Like, it's great.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's when
See, I just didn't get the sleep in. So
yeah, you just didn't get the sleep.
That's same.
That's when I realized, like, I need to fucking hire someone.
Yeah. You're like, I'm done.
For some of these specific tasks, because we're not going to get forward if I'm continually doing this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's all a part of the fun. But yeah,
it is part of the fun.
So I say, for example, yesterday was the same. I had like a filming blocked out in the morning. I had a meeting followed by another meeting. So, and then, I had sort of said, okay, from 3:30 till 10:30, I'm going to paint, like, however long I lasted till. But that was my window, and things changed very quickly. So I didn't get that the night before. I had a busy day again, and sort of got around to painting at like 3:30ish, and I didn't get home until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So in the studio. So that's In terms of commission canvases, I don't really take them on anymore at all. So now what I'm doing in my studio is just me painting what I want to paint, which is amazing.
Wow.
So I have a few here and there, but I just say to people, absolutely no timelines. Like, if you're going to put pressure on me, not going to happen, because it's going to show in the end result. And people are like, but murals you smash out. I'm like, it's just a completely different ball game with that. So
of the business today, and this sort of feeds back into the studio thing, because I was thinking, what's the studio given you from a production point of view versus what you had at home.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, where is your focus now in the business? Is it just on pumping prints and new designs and then stuff like the new NFT, or is it something else that I've maybe missed?
No. I mean, to break it all down, so I've got my murals. I feel like how I am now, like fit, healthy, the murals are definitely not something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I just want to do and explore how big I can go and sort of how much I can achieve. So that's one element. I've got obviously my prints, and now that's sort of turned into like calendars, T-shirts, and things like that. So that's all organised upstairs in my office.
Okay.
And then downstairs is like all my mural equipment, everything. Like there's lots of spray cans, big tubs of paint, like everything's organised there. And then I obviously have like my canvases there as well. So in terms of, then obviously I've got my NFTs, and I'm building my online course, so like education as well. And yeah, so that's sort of like, I guess if you split them up into little things that obviously they have little arms coming off all of them, like just friggin' octopus stats everywhere. But yeah, no, you haven't missed anything. That's that sort of little breakdown.
So let's touch on the NFTs, because this is something that we were talking about, like Discord and profile picture related projects and all that sort of shit. So for people who haven't seen, you obviously launched an NFT.
Yeah.
So that would have been late last year, I believe. I think it was the collection was 3 one-of-ones, which was essentially a crossover of, you know, Elon, Kate Moss, Gary Vee, essentially on superheroes.
Yep.
Now, I've seen some snippets briefly of the next collection, which is super cool. I am curious, are you going to do the, because yours are very much the art.
Yes.
Are you going to do the same thing, or are you going to look at like a profile picture sort of project, or do you look at that and go, oh my fucking God?
At the start, I was like, oh my fucking God, because I was just like, that's just like 10,000 of like manufactured little things. And I feel like I've always been like more of a one-of-one kind of like, you know, you don't want a million people having the same thing sort of thing. But I have had some idea. I've got some really cool ideas. So to answer your question, no, it's not going to stay one-of-one solely.
Okay.
But I am going to just ease into this journey and definitely not try to do I've got some ideas surrounding Australian culture to do a PFP project. Might not be 10,000.
Okay.
But it will.
Yeah, I think 10,000
it's just too much. Yeah. So be a couple of thousand, whatever it may be. So I definitely want to do that. The reason I sort of decided I want to do I want to sort of tap into that is because my first collection went a lot higher than what I anticipated. Yes, like my original sell for that, but you know, being such a new space, I sort of expected to have to earn my stripes and sort of take step by step to, I guess, you know, find my place in the space.
Yeah.
They did go a lot higher than what I anticipated. I want, you know, people to buy in at a reasonable amount that, you know, you don't have 2 ETH or you don't have 1.5 ETH available. So my third collection will actually be 9 pieces, and there'll be 11 owners of each piece.
Oh,
so the buy-in will be a couple $100, whatever it may be. Don't quote me on that. And then that way there is also an opportunity for more people to own one of those.
Okay.
So
9, did you say 9?
9 pieces.
One-of-ones?
No, so 1 of 11s. Yeah,
okay.
so there'll be 11. Yeah.
Variations?
Yeah. And then they'll be, you can purchase that one part of the piece for no variations, same piece. Similar to what Lush Shucks has done.
Yeah.
Sort of, but it won't just be a flat piece. It'll be animated, and there'll be some different things attached.
Because there was different, so we'll come back to how you found this space, which I'm very intrigued by, but there was like different iterations, right? There was when COVID first hit off, it was like the wave was just like artists.
Yeah.
It was just artists. Then we got into like generative art, which was like really whack shit.
Yeah.
Where it was like they would it would be squiggles on a screen. And so you get like a Fidenza type project, which is just, it's ridiculous how expensive that stuff is.
Yeah.
So they're like wave 1. Then wave 2 was what we currently have, which is this profile picture thing. You get like 10,000. Bored Ape Yacht Club is the sort of example.
Yeah.
Wave 3 seems to be like either let's say wave 2.5 was like DAO stuff.
Yeah.
You'd buy something and then there'd also be something attached to it. And then 3 is like games.
Yes.
I've done is pay to
in-game
play
items and
or
stuff,
whatever
yeah.
P2E or whatever the fuck they call it.
Yeah.
So, how early on did you find this? Was it from Lush Shucks? Because he really like fucking, hey man, I'm selling JPEGs.
Yeah. Genius. No, it was probably the Beeple situation at it was like March or something last year. Before then, maybe Feb.
March of last year.
Yeah.
Really? That's really recent.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's probably when I started looking into it more.
And was that
so 2021 March? Yeah, it's about a year ago.
It was the Elon Musk one, or one of some of the whack shit that he had on Instagram.
No, it was when the piece of like all of his work from the last however many years was put together that sold,
okay.
and I was just like, what? Like what? Like,
Yeah, right.
I'd heard of, I knew of people, but I didn't. Like that was when I was just like, what? Like what's going on here? Like, what is this? Like, what's this thing? So I was pretty like, I guess still early to party, but like late to the party. A lot of people were talking about it sort of, September, October, November, 2020. So I sort of jumped on it when that happened and started researching it. That's when I started really diving in, just podcast after podcast, any video that I could find. And I was like, oh, I've got an idea for a piece. And I like created a piece. And then I was just like, everyone's like, when are you going to launch it? And I just wasn't ready. So I actually finished like Elon, the first piece of my collection, in like April last year. And I didn't drop them until December. So.
And how did the whole Collings NFT thing come about?
So I did a podcast with Christian, and we were speaking about it on the podcast this time last year. And I had a lot of people approach me and say, oh, we'll do this for you and we'll do this for you. And not that I didn't trust people, but being such a new space, I didn't really know what to expect or who I could work with that would align with my brand and not try to get me to do a PFP project, for example, or try to be like, do this or turn digital or do this. I still wanted to sort of show that you could bridge the gap between, digital files and physical artworks. And a lot of people I was sort of speaking to screwed their nose up. They're like, you can't do that. And I was like, well, like I just did. Why not? Yeah. So that was most of last year, was just navigating and speaking to everyone in the space. And it was so, it was so hard to know what was right and wrong and which way to go. But I said to Christian, I'm like, do you want to like work together? And he was like, oh, and then he called me, he's like, let's do it. And so we were very transparent about the fact that everyone was just in a learning, in a new space. We needed to learn, we needed to adapt, we needed to make mistakes. It's just like, even when I did my first drop, we had plans to release cards, and, the drop did really, really well. And we're like, we can't move forward with that because and you just got to constantly change. Like, you put all this effort into another project that I just decided not to drop it. And so it's just crazy. Yeah.
And so you've never considered doing a PFP?
I have, yes, only recently. So at the start I was like, I'm just going to stick to one-on-one. But now I've come up with a really, really cool idea, and like very much Australian, and I feel like it'll be a good way to honour our country and stuff. So I'll see what I can come up with. I'm not going to give too much away just in case someone jumps on and it's like, oh, that's a great PFP project idea.
What if I told you the way to take your brand to the next level in 2021 is with TikTok ads? A lot of our clients come to us with a problem. They need to take their brand to the next level. They're typically doing 5 to 10K a month, and they need to jump to that 25, 50K per month level. And Instagram and Facebook just isn't what it was. So what's the commonality amongst all this? It is primarily opportunity in a saturated market. And we think that TikTok ads today is the answer. Now, Narelle follows a 2-phase process to guide you as a challenger brand on the way to growth. Phase 1 is all about knowing your brand and niche back to front with a focus on breaking even or getting above a break even. Phase 2 is scaling that creative to blow up your sales in the process once we've secured you as the leader in that niche on TikTok. You do this with the right partner, a committed partner like Narelle, and you'll build that confidence in an area that has typically been saturated in the past. There's not a silver bullet. and we'd love to chat to you. So book in a consultation with our specialist team. Just go to neural.com/TikTok. That's neuralle.com/TikTok, and we'll chat to you from there. What's the dumbest thing that you've bought getting into this NFT space? We were talking about one before.
Is that dumb?
For me, I bought it.
So it's not that dumb.
It could be. I
don't even want to say it just in case it does do well, and then I'm like here calling it dumb.
The grandpa apes or whatever the fuck it is, right?
See, it's so funny because I tell people, I'm like, look in the Discord, buy things that you can connect with that make you feel something. And I'm just like, they're fucking mad.
Yeah,
and I just
cool.
bought them. I didn't do any of what I would advise people to do when looking into this space. But I won one of them in a competition, and then I looked and I was just like, these are actually so quirky and so fun. So that's why I bought in. So look, and you don't know, at the time it might be you think is not the smartest decision, but in 6 months' time it might pop off, and then you're just like, cool, you know. So
the one I bought was the Dad's Ape Yacht Club or the Dad's Ape Club or some shit like that. So the thing that I learned is that they do really, really, really rely on hype, with Bored Apes being the thing. And so I was like, but they're cool, right? Because you look at them like, oh, fuck, is this the next Bored Ape? And then you buy it and I'm like, I do the research and I'm like, oh, shit, there's been these movements I don't know if you saw this, but they call them crypto funks.
Okay.
So, crypto punks?
Yes.
They take basically the same thing and they flip them the other way, so that the profile picture is facing the other way. And so they do really well on launch, but then the CryptoPunks community with their funds in the DAO or the community basically sue them. OpenSea takes it down, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
So what came from that is that people like the Dad Apes, Granddad Apes, etc., they will say specifically this is not associated with Yuga Labs or whoever makes the project. So it's really hard. And the thing is right now, I just know, I was talking to you before about Nansen and that thing, all the derivative projects are the one kicking off right now.
Yeah.
But you just don't know what's going to last because will the Bored Apes sue them or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm so and that's why I say I make these decisions knowing that nothing is promised, and whatever happens, you can't be shitty at yourself for making those decisions. It's just the fun of it. So I bought a few little artists pieces as well. I bought this Cosmic Cowgirl, and then I tried to swap it out for an airdrop, and I stuffed it up. So it just went poof into the thin air. And then I didn't get my payment from the airdrop too. I was like, damn it. I was like, how did I even stuff that up?
Did you do the whole, remember SOS?
Yes, I did that.
Did you do that? What was the recent one? There was the what the fuck WTF
no, I didn't get that
fees or whatever it was.
Another one was
there's a bunch.
Yeah, I did one recently. That's what I did, and I didn't.
And okay, so people are probably thinking what are these guys talking about? So there's all these they're trying to be stable coins for the NFT world, let's call it. SOS was the one that has probably kicked off the most. And I would say it looks like it's going to be sticking around.
Yeah.
Because people are actually using it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they basically get you to connect your wallet. It tells you how much you've tracked
tokens
on Ethereum or whatever, and then they just drop you some coins, and then they hope that gets initial adoption, and then they build out the thing. And so what happens is it's at a certain value, and I'm like, where the fuck is this money coming from? They must be funded by a VC or something.
Yeah.
Because I remember when SOS came out on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, there was $300 million of Ethereum sold.
I know, it's crazy.
Someone, do you go on Twitter?
Yes.
And you look at crypto Twitter?
Yeah.
And there's all these people saying hey man, fucking great Christmas Day. I just sold SOS for 10,000 Ethereum.
It's so crazy, isn't it?
It's mental.
Yeah. Did you keep yours?
Yeah. Only because the gas fees were more than the actual
I know.
value.
Yeah. I think
and by the way, I only realized that after processing it because I was just such a fucking noob.
I know. I just click away.
I'm
just click. And I'm I once tried to transfer wrapped ETH to ETH, and I just clicked the wrong button. So I paid gas fees to just do like
To send
transfer it out, like, but it was literally to the same like thing of my own.
The same wallet?
Yeah. So like I'm just like, I just paid like $100 and it didn't even do anything. Like, because I don't really read. I'm just like, click, 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 click.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
so
Look,
bad.
it's really complex.
And you got to be so careful.
I've had to do so much fucking research. Like I said to you earlier, NFTs were the gateway drug to DeFi.
Yeah.
Having been in the finance space for years, that was like the thing. And even I found it insanely complex. Like, it's just wholly unrealistic. I've gotten deep on like Olympus, MIM, Spell, Time Wonderland, that whole ecosystem.
So I haven't even like dipped my little toe in that one.
Yeah, so this is all just like these ecosystems of like decentralized protocols that launch these tokens.
I think DAOs are really cool.
DAOs are really cool.
Really, really cool.
And so I would do what you said. I'd do transactions, and so you go onto like you ever use like a Uniswap or SushiSwap?
Yeah, yeah.
So you go on it and you're like, okay, I need to get this token. Right, so the token doesn't exist here now. I need the contract code. And I'm like, okay, so I'm buying Ethereum to Butterfly or Olympus or whatever it was. And I'm like, cool, I just bought it. I've got it. Now I just need to go to the website and stake this thing.
Yeah.
But then you go to the website and it's like, you've run out of gas because you have to approve to stake it, which is a gas fee. And then you've got to stake it with it's constant fucking fees.
Constant like fees as well.
Oh, man,
like that's why all those like new platforms are coming out. They're like, there's no fees. I'm like,
fees, yeah.
There's fees. Like there's like, and if you don't sting them at the start, you're going to sting them at the end.
Yeah.
So like there's always fees.
There's an Italian guy. You should look this dude up. He's fascinating. Danielle Siesta.
Okay.
I don't know why he's Daniela. It to me is still
Danniele.
Daniele. Is that a masculine
It's
name?
a masculine name.
Okay.
That's why when I go to Italy, they're like, Daniela. And I'm like, my name's Danielle.
Oh,
They're
Daniela.
like, Daniele is a boy. And I'm like, okay.
Daniela and La.
Daniela.
La is in the feminine, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, Daniele and Siesta, I think his last name is. And he
That means
is
sleeping. Having a little.
I know. Just a little.
Because you're just snoozing on the
He's
job.
like he's a walking meme. He's sort of like, they call it the Frog Nation.
Okay.
And he basically took that whole DAO ecosystem of like Olympus and Butterfly and all this stuff that was the real trend 6 to 9 months ago. He took that code and he put it onto the AVAX or Phantom protocol, which is just Ethereum where they bridge it onto like a second layer. So it makes it really, really fucking cheap.
Yeah.
So the moment your money's in this ecosystem, you're paying like a cent for transaction fees. And because of that, Daniela and all these people that are involved in the Frog Nation, as they call it, it is dwarfed the size of Olympus and Butterfly. So it's gone off the charts, and like I kind of got to give it to them. Although it's not on Ethereum, I think that maybe these guys will be the ones that win in this whole
100%.
DeFi protocol space.
Changes have to be made, especially with like all the gas fees, and I've copped a lot of flack, understandably, for the energy like consumption of Ethereum and stuff. So there's going to have to be some, and there will be people like that pop through and you're like.
But then they also talk about like Ethereum 2.0. Do you understand that?
Where is it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everyone talks about this year being the year of like layer 2.
But they said last year.
Yeah.
So
another one I've gone deep on is like this thing called Dopex. Mm-hmm. Such a great name.
Do you have like 600 hours in the day? Because I feel like you just have something stored that I don't know of. Like,
I'm just
if you want to just let us in on that.
I'm just having mental breakdowns every day.
Yeah, that was me.
Overworking, burnout.
My brother like wanted me to print a photo of his face. I'm like, mate, I'm not printing a photo of your face. Like, just wrong time, bro.
What?
Wrong time. Like, copped the bro.
What
I
kind of
think he was
question is
messing
that?
around with me. I think he actually needed me to print something, but he lost his chance because he was joking.
How old's your brother?
31. We're all big jokers, but like, there's probably like the 5% chance that like when I've actually got shit going on that I can't joke around. So that was just, he got unlucky.
How long ago was that? Was this at like the depths of the launch of this NFT?
No, this was like today when I'd like just gotten off a call that I mentioned earlier, I won't mention who with, that had expressed their love for me in terms of exposure and not getting paid. That's probably a really nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Basically wanted me to work for free. And then I've had a deadline and my laptop crashed and my file wouldn't convert and I had to send it and then, just everything at once. Like it's always at once.
All the usual shit.
Yeah.
You've done a few interviews now since we last had you on. Before that, you'd already done a few, but there's obviously a few more. So that adds up to a lot of fucking interviews. What do you wish you could talk about in one of these interviews that you don't get to?
I reckon I actually have never spoken about the challenges of as a creative, like as in terms of the exposure card and things like that and paying creators and things like that. And I think it's probably something that you would see a lot in what you do.
Yeah. As in like the frustration in dealing with people say, oh, this is good for you.
Yeah. And I, the people that I mentor and young aspiring artists or artists, established as well, I literally always say to them, I was like, as long as you, which is so wrong, but I said, if you come to terms with the fact that no matter how busy you are, no matter how successful you are, people will always think that they're doing you a favor. I said, you'll be okay. True. You'll literally be okay. Yeah. Like you need to come to terms with that. And anything better than that is always going to be a win. So.
Yeah, in this day and age, it is a big thing for me because we get it all the time.
Yeah.
I say the big one is like gifting shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, we've got this dog collar. Like, you've got a dog. Do you want to fucking do a post about it for free product? I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm not even going to bring this to them. There's no chance that they're going to post about it if you're not paying them.
Yeah.
If you want to, you are more than welcome to send this product. And maybe if, they film a story or something, then you get it in. But I can't guarantee you shit. And it's just wrong.
My dog collar is $15 though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like value. Hello.
I know.
But it's like, that's.
It's so frustrating. And so we've even had this when we do content deals. Like people think, okay, sick, I've got this deal with X network and this network is going to like legitimize me and all this stuff and I should give way on this or I should make sure that there's no, like, I should be very cautious about the contractual obligations. I'm like, fuck no. You want that shit in the contract. We've had instances where the contract will say, like with the podcast, we will spend up to the equivalent up to $50,000. And I'm like, Bob, you can spend nothing on that basis. So I want a minimum in that. You need to spend at least $30,000.
Yeah, give us at least a window that will cover.
That works.
Yeah.
And most of the time they're fine because at that level you're dealing with okay people. But it's a question I get all the time. The biggest thing that I get on TikTok is talent, up and coming talent adding me and asking me questions about this shit. Like, how do I calculate my price?
Yeah.
Should I be doing this for free? Most of the times the answer is no. And to go to your point about these people asking you, like, you're going to be okay, there's a fucking reason they're coming to you. They understand, they've got the tools, the data, the capabilities to understand that you are meaningful.
Yeah. And you're going to add value to their
Otherwise,
product.
why the fuck would they waste their time?
In some way, shape or form. That's the reason why they've come to you.
Yeah. Why would they bother?
And then, and these are big corporations that sit there and tell me what they can do for me for 1 hour. Yet I feel like saying, well, what can you do without me? Because you've just come to me for my product. And I said, well, you can go to someone else. I said, but you've spent the last 2 weeks trying to, for this to eventuate into something. Yeah. But you're saying you don't want to pay. Yeah. Because you can do all this for me. But what can you do if you don't have my product? Yeah. Nothing. So pay. Yeah.
Even on pricing, like we will quote things and the people say to us, oh, well, the brand only has this budget. And I'm like, well, do you agree that this is the value of X, which is 1,000 views or whatever it may be? And like, yes, we agree. Okay, well then this is what you're paying for, like an average of X. Yeah. And you should pay it. Otherwise you can manage their expectations and tell them that, no, you can't use that for paid media or you can't use this for licensing. Like you wouldn't do this to someone who's on Home and Away or on Netflix or whatever. You're only doing it because this is so fresh and new. But that is changing. I think that
it is. Yeah.
People need to realize that I had this debate with a brand the other day. Okay. What do you think talent is?
What do I think talent is? I think talent is a niche that the large majority of people cannot do. Okay. And they have a special talent or passion or something that a lot of other people can't do. So they should be valued accordingly.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And do you think it doesn't matter what medium or format
Doesn't
it
matter.
exists in?
Could be anything.
Because this brand was
There's no bubbles. There's no boxes that people fit into. It can be anything.
Now you
and
could
we've
argue,
learned that with the internet. Like you can have like the coolest farts and make X amount of money from it. Like there's
farts in a jar.
That is talent. Like someone else can't fart on demand, so you rule. Like that's mad. Like
This reminds me of this girl who was selling farts in a jar, and then she got admitted to hospital. It was on Frenchie and Tom's podcast.
But she made like $40,000 a week or something.
She made $1 grand a fart.
Yeah.
In this jar.
I'd be all right at that, I reckon.
Dude, I remember saying this to Lauren.
Okay, I just actually just like not even realizing. I just put my arm up. I've got a fart tattoo on my arm. So like anyone have any jobs going? Because I'm dedicated.
I remember saying to Lauren, like, if I was a female, I would 100% be saying like farts in a jar. I'd be like doing weird shit on OnlyFans. Like I would just, I don't know. I just feel, maybe that's me. Maybe it's because I am male that I think that. But I remember seeing that article.
If I had the time, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
That would be my
the market fit.
That'd be my next talent.
No, on talent, it was really interesting. This guy said to me, he reckons the talent is people who are like on mainstream TV and movies. And I'm like, but talent's just talent. And what's more, it is way more ubiquitous than it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's not typified by someone who's in the Hollywood sphere or whatever. It's like what Gary Vee says. If you've got attention, attention matters. What's the threshold?
Yeah.
Brands tell us at least 100,000 something.
Yeah.
Views, eyeballs, listens, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Something that is tangible.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what it is.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. People who put... Yeah, like I think, and that just shows, you know, their limitations or their inability to keep up with what the internet has allowed people to do at a young age now too. Like, you know, you used to be like 18, what are we going to do now? You know, we've got 8-year-old entrepreneurs, you've got 5-year-old freaking people playing gaming and doing gaming and making money from it. Like,
yeah, there's that kid in America who tries like toys and he made
Ryan's Toy Reviews.
That's it. He made $20 million last year.
What?
Fucked up.
How old?
He's probably 6 or 7.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll go 5 because like I can't really remember what I was doing when I was 4, but 5.
But this kid's been doing it for 3 years and making that sort of money for 3 years. So he was second to Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
That's just,
it's insane. Yeah.
It's an insane.
So people who don't keep up with the fact that the internet and the digital world is literally, it's like fair game for all.
Yeah. I think as well it's old brands that are the ones that are consistently the ones undervaluing digital talent. Like, tell you who's a great brand to work with. They're more of a media brand, Lad Bible.
Okay.
They do a lot of campaigns on behalf of brands. They not once have ever questioned me on pricing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, that's really cool to hear too.
It's really good. And
you always wonder, you know, like especially the ones that I think they started on Facebook mainly.
Yeah, they did. They started on Facebook.
And,
just memes and shit. And like their staff are like, hey, can you get Adam to make a tune for New Year's Eve and it's going to be with this brand and like just whatever he wants. It's just going to be this long. I'm like, cool, here's how much it is. And like, sweet, let's do it.
Yeah.
A week later, they've got it and they fucking love it. And it's like, it's so easy.
And that's the thing when there's not that, this is what brands, sorry if you could hear that burp, like it wasn't a burp, like, but it was like, maybe just like cancel that out. Because I'm like, whoa, what was that? That was like internal just roaring. There's the bubbles for you. But this is what people don't realize. Like if you value your talent, your end result is
so much better.
Always going to be so much better. And that is, like ripple effect from that is more value than what you've paid for in itself. Like, so it's just, the brands that are resentful and, you know, there's that tension and, you know, that hesitation and things like that. It's just like, you're really going to see it in the end result. And for that reason, now I just say no. Like I don't even try and make it work because it's just going to reflect me in a bad light. So it's just,
We've blacklisted.
You set a precedence for like, oh, I'll just take on that job even though it's like, you know.
Yeah. And it is something for brands listening to this. Agencies, talent managers, they talk.
Yeah.
I've blacklisted 2 agencies from doing any work with us,
Yeah.
which they probably don't give a fuck about. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I tell other managers. I tell
Yeah.
them what it's like working with them, and I feel like people, I don't know, that shit gets around.
Yeah.
If you're a certain way and you're hard to deal with,
Yeah.
that shit gets around.
It does. It really does, especially it is another world, like agencies
Yeah.
and talent management and stuff, but definitely does get around. Yeah.
So I asked you before about the thing that you wish you could talk about. What's the thing that you cannot fucking stand in these interviews that you get asked? What's your day look like?
I can never really answer that anyway because it's literally all
It's
over
all
the joint.
different.
Like if you look at like a box of like someone who's just placed all these fucking random lollies and like there's no aesthetics, like there's just like they're just sticking to that's my day. Like that's my day in a nutshell. Just a shitstorm of lollies and chocolates stuck together. No, what do I not like? I guess a lot of these interviews, a lot of people just like, oh, The Rock, like
Okay.
for like the whole time because like they make
What's The Rock like?
Yeah.
What's Arnie like?
Which like that has been an incredible stepping stone, like to and he like I still have contact with him and I still value him, like can't even put it into words. But there's so much more and there's so much more behind the scenes to this picture and like there's much more. I feel like I can help people more if I really get down to like what goes on and a bit more depth and things like that, especially knowing like I had my really amazing support around me, but I didn't really know any artists that were going through what I was and I didn't really have any support in terms of like the art world. So it was quite a lonely journey at times. So I think if this is relatable to creatives in general, talent in general, and they're like, oh, I go through that too. Like that's normal. Like, and it just, yeah. So,
I know the exact feeling because when I think about it and I have significant people on and like even it's not The Rock or anything like that, but I know that question and it's so frustrating. It's like you get a message from people who listen to the show or friends and they're like, what's Danielle like? What's Sam like? What's this person like? What's Steph Claire Smith like? I'm like, bro, I interviewed them once.
Yeah.
Like they're nice people. We get along.
I don't know. I didn't follow them home and watch every encounter that they had.
Like it's a pretty normal. If I think about all the guests and people and famous talent and all that shit that I've dealt with, 1%, 0.01% have been odd. Most people are pretty fucking normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Particularly in this digital era, like most people are pretty normal. Yeah, the weirdest thing I've had is a guy came in for an interview and when we used to have it back at the house, he just sat there on the dining table and he was just like scrolling on his phone, like not even engaging. I was like, oh, do you want some water or anything? He's like, no, I'm okay. And just went back to like answering emails and stuff like that. And I think in hindsight, like he's not a bad guy. I think in hindsight he was probably just bit nervous and his interview was very short. So there's definitely something about like introversion there, but I was not expecting it.
Yeah. And you're like, wow, that's hard. Like that's
very hard.
Like it's a hard situation.
And it's hard when you get in, you sit in this interview and I'm like looking at my notes and the time, I'm like, oh my God, we've only been going for 20 minutes and this is nearly wrapped.
Yeah, wow.
So, but I know that feeling and people just know you then would define you as, oh, that's Danielle. That's the Arnie girl. Like, it'd be so fucking annoying.
Yeah. And that's such a thing though. Like, if you think of celebrities who have done like bad things or had like bad publicity or bad light shine on them, like that's what people remember them by. And it's just like that's not really like that's not.
It's not how
the
they
only
are.
thing that's not who they are.
It's like there's been instances of that with when there was the Me Too movement. There's obviously people like a Harvey Weinstein who's clearly a bad individual, but you got like an Aziz Ansari who, as it was worked out, didn't do anything wrong. It was just a date that was very awkward. I don't think they even went to court or anything like that. But he was still like everyone now. I look at Aziz Ansari, I'm like, fuck, you're the guy, man. Like you're the guy who did something to a chick, but I don't even know what.
Yeah.
You apply this thing on that individual.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, how do you undo that?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can at all.
I know. It's relentless.
All right, let's jump into some rapid fire questions to finish things off. I didn't actually ask you at the start what you wanted, but whatever. We can do it anyway.
Wait, what's this? What did I want?
Rapid fire. Like, I normally ask people what do they want to answer.
Yeah, nah, that's cool. I like it. Surprise me.
Here's your choices, and you can pick two. So we got morning and evening routine. What's in the fridge at home? Food or drink of choice. Best purchase under $200. Podcast, doc, or a movie you've been watching lately. And a billboard. If you could have it anywhere, what would you put on it? Can't be self-promotional though.
Okay.
So we've got billboard, media, purchase, food and drink, fridge, or morning and evening routine. What's the two that stand out there?
I would like food and drink choice.
Okay, what's your go-to?
Food, I'm savoury, all savoury, no sweet.
Really?
Love salads.
Okay.
I make friends with salad.
Do you have like a go-to lunch then? Like a
tuna
go-to
and rice and avocado.
Oh, fucking hell.
So,
what about drink?
But I love
choice?
it. Like, it's not even like I love it. Like, if Les, my sister in the studio, if she has it and I don't have it, I'm like, I've got tuna and rice FOMO. Like, I'm really jealous of her lunch. Like,
I have the same. I don't know if Jacob's worked this out yet, but I have pretty much the same thing every day.
No,
which is,
don't you get bored of it?
I love it. It's like your tuna and
yeah,
rice.
true.
So it's either bread as the base or like water thins.
Yeah.
And it's always like mustard, salmon, dill pickles.
Yum.
Like pickled capsicum.
See, I'm all about that.
Rocket.
Yeah.
And maybe some like yogurt, a tiny drop of yogurt or cheese on
That's
top.
fancy.
Or avocado.
Do you make that like when you're ready for lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like
the thing I
fresh
put together.
as-
Yeah, it's fresh
Geez,
as.
that is like, that's like,
Fucking love it.
that's like not even a 3-ingredient lunch. Like, that's like that's impressive.
I can't.
I would like that too.
I need variety. I
Yeah.
can't do monotonous
What do you mean? You just
lunch.
said you had the same thing every day.
That's a good point. I'm a walking contradiction. Fuck.
No.
Okay, what other questions stood out to you there? Billboard, podcast, doc, or a movie, or best purchase?
Podcast? Doco, maybe?
All right. What are you going to recommend? What have you been watching?
Podcast. I'm listening to Proof podcast by Kevin Rose.
Proof? Oh.
Proof.
Proof?
Proof. The Poufet. Yeah, Proof by Kevin Rose. And I'm just like working my way through all that. It's like all NFT stuff.
You like his stuff?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, he's good, but sometimes his podcast can do my head in.
Yeah,
like when he did like the tech interviews, I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. That's the modern tech one, isn't it? The separate one. It's like
I can't remember. It's a long.
Yeah.
It's like 3 years ago.
Yeah. I think he's like got separate ones now, so you can sift the shit.
Okay. Proof by Kevin Rose.
Yeah.
And anything you've been watching lately that you...
No, I haven't been watching anything. I actually do. I've been watching a bit of LA's Finest, which is I love, it's with Jessica Alba. I love her, but like the show is really, really bad. So I wouldn't recommend it, but I just love her. So
LA's Finest, did you say?
Don't even write it down. You can't write that down. You're gonna watch the first one and be like, this is the worst show I've ever watched.
It's got 24% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I even checked that because I was like, am I a really like tough crowd? But then when I checked that, I'm like, this is really...
Sorry, actually.
It didn't even make the next like
season.
Yeah.
Let's rehash that. It's 24%. This is what I find always interesting. 17 critics gave it an average of 24%. 143 audience members gave it an average of 62. So it's not that bad.
That's not bad.
I've seen worse things at the 60%.
It's like a crime show.
Yeah, it's just a sort of your everyday show.
Yeah.
So are you saying that it's being canned?
I think so because I went to
You know, she's a fascinating fucking individual.
Yeah.
Man. Remember the days of like Honey?
Oh.
You must have grown up with that, right?
Yeah.
Honey?
That was like I've been obsessed with her since then. I just love it. But she's like such a normal girl. Like such a normal person.
I'd love
Not
to,
that I know I haven't.
love to interview her.
Once
And-
Jessica Alba like, but yeah, no, I think I really just we're both walking contradictions right now. I know Jessica Alba.
What does she do? Oh,
Never
man.
met her.
Into the Blue with Paul Walker. I can remember
Babe.
that.
She's such a babe.
She did
She
Sin
speaks
City.
about like how she struggled being like a Latino woman like in Hollywood and stuff like that. And I just think she's done so well for herself.
She's done very, very well.
Yeah.
I think that
With her businesses as well.
community, because she has to struggle, they often do well. Like I was reading this book about CAA agency and how they would help partner with talent to create new businesses for them. I had no idea, but even Longoria has a production business that's doing or has done about $500 million in revenue.
Wow.
It's crazy.
She's got her own makeup line too, doesn't she?
Apparently.
Unreal.
Which is really fascinating.
Yeah, Jessica Alba's got like that Honest company, which I think is really cool.
She sold it for like $1 billion.
Did she?
Yeah. But man, she did a lot of shit. Fantastic Four, Honey. Do you remember Good Luck Chuck?
Oh, who was that with?
You'd recognize it was with this comedian. Holy shit. There's a guy that I know, the kid that is mates with Will, that was in this movie.
Oh.
Which is very interesting. Will, who's on our roster, you're probably like, who the fuck is that? A lot of movies there. Machete, interesting.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on the interwebs, Danny?
Or, look, I'm trying to branch out. So we've got just Instagram's the main one, obviously. Danielle's artwork. Got a little TikTok happening. You'd be proud.
Yeah.
Got like 1,900 followers. We're getting there.
What's your handle?
Same, Danielle's artwork.
Okay.
And he's getting on it right now. Look at that. It's dedication. LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn's great.
Dannielle Weber on LinkedIn. Discord, Danielle's artwork. We've got Twitter. We've got Facebook, Danielle's artwork. Got a website, www.daniellesartwork.com. There's a few there.
There you go, Jacob. You need to link all of that.
There's probably more too.
Interesting. How to buy an NFT. Instaverse reality. Is this when you're on...
I can't TikTok. I haven't worked it out. I need to talk to some of your friends, I think.
Okay. This is... Oh, my God. This is you trying to get on this fucking horse.
Yeah.
This is hilarious.
Luke sent me that. I'm like, oh, my God. That is so bad. Yeah.
Danny, thank you for coming
Thanks
in.
for having me.
Thanks for having a drink. We'll catch you soon.
Never too early to have a drink.
Never too early. It's 2 p.m. somewhere.
Yeah, 5. True. Same.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks heaps.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode. If you liked it, do subscribe. And of course, like it on YouTube if you're watching as well. We'd really appreciate that. For audio, if you've not already listening on your podcast app, you can search for it on any good app, including Spotify, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. For video, if you're not watching, you can search Uncommon Podcast on YouTube. It's the first one that appears every single time. For behind the scenes, do follow us on Instagram and TikTok. It's @uncommon_show. But until next time, thanks for tuning in.